Hello guys, Lenny here. So welcome to the channel if you are new. And so here we'll talk about Dropified. So that will be an introduction of why you should choose Dropified. I mean, that's a choice. What you could do with it, what could be automated. I'll give you also some tips that I've experienced and I've learned from the past. And I'll show you. So we'll do a walkthrough of Dropified. Okay, so let's start right away. So why Dropified? So actually, you have multiple options. So you are probably aware of Oberlo as well, which is a competitor of Dropified. So here I not go into the detail of Oberlo versus Dropified, but there is some differences. One of the key differences is that Dropified is a paid Shopify module from the beginning, whereas Oberlo you have a free plan. But the thing is, with Dropified there is things that you can do and better in my opinion. So why Dropified? So basically you should have a shop, a Shopify shop, which is already making sales. So I think more than 20 sales a day. And why I say that? Because you simply don't need to automate or to streamline the process. If you are below, that does not really make sense, or at least it's not really something which makes sense from a financial standpoint. And there is really nothing to automate if you have like 10 sales or 2 sales. You are not at that step. You should focus on something else. We can talk about it. Drop a comment and we'll talk about it. Another point is you want to reduce the time that you spend on fulfilling orders, which makes sense because quickly it will build up and then you can go into a very bad habit, which is getting stuck into the running your store, whereas improving it. That's something that I've learned the hard way, because I've been stuck into running a store for multiple months. So and after I managed to change my habit. And yeah, the last one is kind of obvious, but it's just to automate the order fulfillment process. So let's go into more details. So here, that's something which I guess it's interesting to go through that. It's not directly related to Dropified, but I just want like to help you guys and to go through some of the trouble that I had when going through like 200 orders a day for a specific store. So you can have some order being cancelled by AliExpress. So not sure if you already experienced that, but trust me, it's very troublesome. So for example, let's say you have 100 order for a day. I mean, at the evening, you process all of them, you pay all of them, you go to sleep, and then you think you are done for the day. And then at 5 a.m. you receive like a ton of order from AliExpress saying that like half of it has been cancelled. So you go crazy because when it's being cancelled, then you cannot try to pay again or duplicate order on AliExpress. So you see, what you need to do, in fact, is you have to delete the order ID in Dropified and then reorder. So that's really a pain. So that's something you should be prepared to face if you start to do a lot of order. Another thing is the client can provide you incorrect address or missing data. For example, the zip code, the apartment number, things like that. So when this is happening, you should face it and either go back to the client or manage it. Sometimes you will fulfill order, the client will not receive the order, and then that will be a mess because he will want a refund. There is some trick that you can apply. So put down a comment if you want to learn more, but I can do a dedicated video about that because it's related to the policy that you put in place in your store. Another one could be that the address is in a foreign language. So that's tricky because Dropified is trying to translate, which is totally wrong. What I'm doing, at least for me and my assistant, so basically what we do, we just mail the client and say, hey, thanks for your order. You provided that in your own language, which is fine, but can you share with us the English version of your address? And then once they reply, then you fulfill the order. One other possibility is that the address simply cannot be delivered by AliExpress. There is some island, there is some places or countries that, you think no one will ever order from there, but the fact is, everyone is keen to order things online, so you will have this situation happening. And finally, you can have client order on a product which is, not in stock, which in the best case, or the listing is not even existing anymore, and then you are in a bad shape because you don't want to cancel the order. Maybe you paid for Facebook ads or Instagram ad, Snapchat ad, I don't know, and you have no product in front of it, so then you are in a mess. So I'm not going into the detail of how to handle them. If you have question, you put down in your comment. You tell me what you want to know, and I'll do a dedicated video. So here I just want to touch down on what could be automated with Dropified, and here this is where it gets interesting. So because I don't cover it here, but indeed you can import product from AliExpress into your Shopify store using Dropified. It makes things easy, but that's just the face of it. It's just an easy feature. You have better stuff to do. So you have product mapping indeed. So that's something which come auto. You have bundle mapping. So for example, you want one product on Shopify to be linked to a bundle of 3 products in AliExpress. So you can do that via Dropified and quite easily actually. You can even set quantity, like this bundle, Super Dad bundle is 2 hats and 1 jersey. This you can do. So you can do anything in terms of bundling. So you avoid another add-on or whatever. Bundle management can be very tricky in Shopify, and if you don't have module that can work together, then that can quickly become a mess. Another one which is super interesting, especially if you don't focus on one country, for example, if you do worldwide or if you do only packet country, is to define a shipping method per country, per product. So, for example, you have one product that you dropship worldwide. So you want to optimize the shipping method that you choose, but you don't want to choose every time. You have 100 orders a day. You don't want to go into that trouble every single day. So what you do is that you define that once for all, and that's super interesting, especially in a context where you can have different suppliers for different products, where different shipping method has to be chosen. For example, there is this supplier who mostly do e-packet and it's very cheap. There is this one who only do AliExpress standard shipping. So that's something that you can work through. Another one is when you import new product from AliExpress. So you can choose some ratio. You can customize the description. You can do a lot of things which come very, very handy. Related to this, you have the one-click order process, because indeed, if that's a product where you define the product mapping, shipping method per country per product, then you can simply in one click order the product, and that's very handy. And finally, one thing which is key is to retrieve tracking number from AliExpress. So that's something that is super interesting, especially if you have a lot of order. Okay, so let's go to the walkthrough now. So here you see Dropified. And just as a reminder, if you want to try out, click on the link in the description now. You will get free access for a few days, and then you will be able to try and see whether it fits your need for your store. Okay, so here you are in the setting of the store. So you see I was talking about it earlier. So you have price markup. It's a way to tell Dropify what to apply in terms of price markup when you import a product. Sorry. You can also define the same for the compare price. So if you always have like a scheme, for example, you have a product at 5 USD in AliExpress, you do 200% for the normal price and then 400% for the compare price. So that's your thing. You have to check that. You can also define the cent value. So you always have the same, the weight, whether we keep the description or not, what to fulfill in terms of phone number, etc. So there is some very interesting stuff like CAPTCHA solving, like resolving address issue, etc. So these are things that you don't put as enable at the beginning, but then you need to try out. So if we go to the tracking, because actually that's one of the features that I was talking about before. So that's the ability for Dropify to massively update all the tracking number as a one go. So here you see, for example, there is 200 tracking. So then you can directly sync on supplier and then start update. And you see that will be 1 month. So if you start update, then you will have all the order that will be scanned, and tracking will be automatically updated if relevant. So here I'll cancel because there is a lot of order on that store, and I don't want you guys to wait. So another thing, so you see that there is a lot of feature, but the key point is really the store, the product, and then order. So if you go to the product, then you can see all product, what are the configuration, etc. So for order, so you see the number of orders that are currently on the store. You have a various parameter to filter out your order, and where it gets interesting is that you see here you see how much the client paid, when did he paid, and you can, for example, here you can directly automatically fulfill it via e-packet. And why is that? Is because there has been a shipping method per country, which is the United States in that situation, defined. So it's a one-click order, guys. So that's super interesting, because then you can go through all the order and then you simply click. Then you have a queue which is building up, and then so you see here, for example, you have a queue which is building up, and then you can do it as one go. So that's super interesting. So you know what, that's it for today. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. So it was a bit sketchy because that's my first video on that channel. So hope you don't mind. I apologize for that. So I think you have to try Dropify. I think it will help you grow your store, because you will spend less time on running your store and more time on changing it and improving it. So I think click on the description, on the link into the description, and try it out. I mean, you have a free trial thanks to that link, so why not? So okay, so Lenny here. So don't hesitate to put a comment and a like if you enjoy and want more of video. Bye bye.